This is Kevin Bergen at the Center for Counseling, Recovery, and Growth, and I'm going to share with you a simple tool that'll help you make big decisions. This is the Decision Maker. This tool is for either-or decisions. Should you move? What about this job offer? That surgery the doctor's suggesting is a big deal. A divorce is a huge decision. Or what if you get accepted to 2 different schools? Take a sheet of blank paper. Draw a line right down the middle. So far, this is no different from the well-known exercise of making a list of pros and cons. Well, here we're going to do something a little different by adding 2 important factors. Instead of putting pros and cons at the top of the 2 columns, we're going to put the either and the or at the top of those 2 columns. Let's use the example of moving. This could be moving to New York or moving to Florida, but in our example, we're going to list it as either move or stay. We'll start by listing a couple outcomes that are important under each heading. If we move, we'll enjoy a lower cost of living. If we stay here, the kids won't have to change schools and go through all that hassle. And we'll add more factors as they occur to us. Here's the first big difference from making that simple list of pros and cons. Now draw a horizontal line across the middle of your page. You're adding another axis with which to weigh your factors. Add the label pros to the top row and the label cons to the bottom row. You can also label these rows positives and negatives if you prefer, because now you're going to list negative outcomes to the 2 columns on the bottom row. For example, the expenses involved with moving would be a negative outcome in the first column. And knowing we're going to get laid off and be unemployed if we stay would be a negative outcome in the second column under stay. Continue to fill in outcomes in each of the 4 quadrants as they occur to you. Depending on the magnitude of this decision, you may want to spend just 15 minutes listing the various outcomes, or you could take days or weeks to record all the outcomes that occur to you. And you don't need the same number in each quadrant. Just consider what outcomes occur to you for each section. Now, whenever you feel that you've got a good number of outcomes, you're ready for the second big difference from the old pro-con list, and that is rating. Consider how much weight each factor has on a scale of 1 to 10. In other words, how important is each factor? When I look at the first positive outcome of moving, I think a lower cost of living is pretty important, so I'll rate it a 9. The air's cleaner in the new town, but not all that much, so its importance is only a 3. Living closer to family, with the kids knowing their grandparents and cousins, that's pretty important. The kids staying where they are would be nice, but I'll rate that a 4. But all of us keeping our current friends weighs pretty heavily. And I'll continue to rate each of the outcomes I've listed. Now is where this tool starts really paying off. Total up the ratings of each quadrant. Once you have 4 totals, you'll add the diagonal totals together. So the pros for column 1 get added to the cons of column 2, and the cons of column 1 get added to the pros of column 2. In our example, the higher number is now under moving. We've systematically weighed all the immediate factors we could think of, and the objective scoring of the factor's importance indicates that moving would work out better than staying where we are. Now, this is a dynamic tool, meaning that you may continue to add factors in any of the 4 quadrants, rate them, and adjust the totals. Do this until you feel satisfied that you've included and weighed enough factors to make a confident decision, even if the decision remains difficult. The closer the scores are for the two choices, the more difficult the decision, and the more useful this tool becomes. So let's recap the 6 steps for this decision maker. Number 1, draw a vertical line to create either and or columns. Number 2, draw a horizontal line to create pro and con rows. Number 3, list positive outcomes and negative outcomes for each choice. Number 4, rate each outcome for the weight it carries in importance. 5, total the ratings for each quadrant. And finally, 6, add the totals diagonally for each choice's score. Now you have a simple score for each of your choices, making it clearer for you to make this difficult decision. Remember that this is a dynamic tool, so you can continue to add outcomes to consider and even honestly re-rate any of those outcomes. Only you will know when you're satisfied weighing factors and want to make your final decision. This has been a service of the Center for Counseling, Recovery, and Growth, where we offer in-office counseling, group support, and distance coaching via internet video. Find us at centercrg.com. This is Kevin Bergen.